Episode 61, Zodiac Killer Case, Humble Oil. In this episode, we go back to the first crime, looking for suspects. And one possible area of research and investigation is the workers at Humble Oil during 1968. So as this episode plays out, you can see what the heck I mean. Humble Oil started construction on a new refinery in Benicia. The project started in late 1966, early 67, and finished in 1969. And during this time, many workers lived in Vallejo and drove along Lake Herman Road to the construction site. In this Vallejo Times-Herald newspaper article, the reporter asked the sheriff about when the murders occurred, and the sheriff talks about some of the people who drove by the crime scene that night. So I'm going to read a portion of that news column. The sheriff said he learned this through questioning night shift workers at the Humble Oil Refinery construction project in Benicia, many of whom drive to and from their jobs via Lake Herman Road. From these witnesses, the investigators learned the approximate time the Faraday car was seen parked off the roadway 5 miles northeast of there, and just as important, the earlier time when it was not here. At least one witness told of having seen two cars, the Faraday station wagon and another vehicle at the murder site, at a time which jibes with the investigators' estimate as to when the killings took place. That other witness is James Owen. James was a refinery technician at Humble Oil, and he lived at 1735 Minnie Drive in Vallejo in 1968. I believe James is a reliable witness, and here is his route to work that night, Friday, December 20th, 1968. And you can see it takes about 15 minutes for him to leave his house and to get to the point where he saw David and Betty parked on the side of the road on Lake Herman Road. Now, some reports have him leaving work when he saw them, but I think they're mistaken. He was going to work. He worked at night, and he's the only one that possibly saw the Zodiac Killer's automobile. James said he left about 11 o'clock for the night shift at his job at Humble Oil, and he estimated that the time he passed the crime scene was about 11:20 p.m. The purpose of this video is not really to put the finger on him or accuse him of the crime, but is to point out that it could have easily been someone who worked at Humble Oil on that night shift. And so I'm going to look more into this case and more into possible suspects that worked there and see if I can find someone. James Owen died in 2012. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and on the next episode, we're going to take a look at the Montana prison in Deer Lodge, Montana, and are there any suspects that could possibly come out of that lead. And we're going to come back to the case about my first suspect, John L. Johnson. So I'll see you the next time.